is a 3D printed MP5 from Black Ops Cold War. And right now it's unpainted and in pieces. But today I'm going to show you exactly how we turn this kind of damaged and not great print into an absolute work of art. At least I hope so. So come follow along with me while I fix it, prep it for paint, and then ultimately paint it and see how it turns out. So here we are in the workshop, and the first thing we're gonna do is I'm just gonna lightly sand the surface, try to knock down any of those really bad lines. There's some pretty bad ones on this, so I do what I can with like an 80 grit, and I quickly realize that's just not really gonna do it. So we need to bring out the bondo, and I use bondo on most things, but this one especially needed it. And you're gonna see I pretty much cover the entire thing, at least the suppressor part and the barrel, top of the barrel. Those parts really were bad. There were some problem areas on the stock as well. The end of the stock was pretty bad, and some pieces in the main body as well. Parts of the mag and stuff like that needed some heavy bondo, but we went to town on this, and I just put it on super thick. I did a couple of layers of it and then just tried to smooth it out best I could. Tried to get those grooves and all of that stuff. I don't want to lose too much detail doing this. However, we do just need to get the surface smooth, and that's what we did. So you can see here, we covered the thing in bondo and then we sanded it smooth, but that doesn't make it perfect. So we need to still go in with some sandable and filler primer. I use this in every video. It's great stuff, and it will just basically clean up anything we missed or anywhere we didn't really hit with bondo. But I want to show you something that we made that has made my life so much easier. For a long time, I just spray painted things like on a cardboard box on the ground. Then I upgraded it to this like portable spray booth, which is super nice. It has a little fan in the back that just helps a little bit with getting some of that like loose spray stuff out of the way, and it doesn't fall back onto your piece. And then I put the pieces basically on this little Lazy Susan, which is great. However, once you spray something, you gotta wait until it's dry to spray the next piece. And a lot of these things that we do were in multiple pieces. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice to use the attachment that we use basically to put all the pieces together and make a little stand out of it? So that's what we did. So now I have a series of these little stands that have just like one little 3D printed thing that basically sticks into the pieces of the weapons, and I can spray one piece, pick that piece up, move it out of the spray booth, and then put the next one in the same spot and spray that. It has made a huge change to my productivity and just basically making things go a little bit faster. So we're not having to wait hours or whatever to basically move on to the next piece. And that's exactly what we did here. We sprayed it down with the primer, sanded it, and then I finished it off with a white spray paint primer, and this acts as our base layer. All right, now that we got this all prepped and ready to paint, we are going to be doing the Toronto Ultra Camo from Cold War. So not the newest one, but this is, I believe, the first Ultra Camo that was available. Let's get to it. I'm going to start on the stock. It's kind of the most like inconspicuous part, and then go from there. I'm looking at the camo here, and there is some black parts as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and make this part black. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of crossing it off just so I know for the future. And making this part black is going to be nice because this is where the two pieces connect, and we'll just make it easier for us in the end. But let's get into it. And I'm just gonna kind of send it here. We're just gonna make kind of just some weird just camo shapes. I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason here. There's nothing really to copy. Not that you always have to be copying something, but just kind of have fun with it. This is a low stakes type of thing right here. You know what I mean? We're not painting the Mona Lisa. We're just painting basically some splotches here, and should have a lot of fun. And now with everything drawn out, we're going to just start with the stock again. for the painting portion. And we've got this purple here, and I feel like this is a pretty solid purple for what we're doing here. We don't need to do any gradients, anything like that. We just got to get some nice even coats. So hopefully this paint, this one in particular, goes on really smooth, and then this should be a pretty simple one. So got our paintbrush. We're just using a kind of medium size one here. So let's just start getting to it. So we're just going to go on, and it's not the greatest coverage here, but it's not horrible. So we're just going to go in and get a nice even base coat going, and then we will go from there, and we're just going to keep layering this on. So I will see you guys after the first base coat is done here. All right, now we've got a base layer of everything. We have some very uneven painting. However, it is a light coat. So once we kind of dial everything in and get another layer or two of the purple, it will be totally solid and look really good. The important thing that we wanted here was just to get that first base down. Acrylic paint sometimes just works better if you get a first coat down, even though we primed it and everything. Now we just gotta let it dry, and then we will see you for the next coat here. All right, now that we got the second coat all on there, there's a few spots where we still need to hit again, but I figured this is a good opportunity to hit the black areas with some blacks, and then we will go again with the purple. So let's get into it, huh? All right, so now we have gone over and done a pass of black in most of the black spots. There's going to be a few more, but you can really see the way that this thing is going to be coming together here. You just put like a couple of these pieces together. I mean, this thing is going to be sick. I love the way that the black just like kind of, it just makes the rest of the camo just pop so much more, and I'm just going to love it. We'll put the splatter on. We got to do another layer of purple in a few spots first. Let that dry, and then we'll hit it with the splatter of purple and white. And then we'll go back in and touch up all the black again, because there's going to be some splatter over it. Let's get going on that. All right, so now we got all of the black done for the most part. We will have to go back and touch up after this next piece, but we've got the purple to a point where I am satisfied with. It's pretty solid everywhere. If there's any little spots left over, we can go back and touch them up, but for the most part, it's looking pretty good. So the next step that we need to do is the splatter. So to do that, I'm gonna take this paper towel here and cover up my keyboard, because we do not want to get that all messed up. I probably should cover more things. However, we're very lazy this evening, and we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna turn this way, because this mag is massive, and this gives me just a better angle. I'm gonna move my phone so that doesn't get covered, and then we are going to grab our handy dandy toothbrush. Now, a lot of times when I'm using the toothbrush, we're going for like very fine dots, you know what I mean? So we're going for like stars and stuff like that. This one, we don't really need to be as minute. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our purple here, shake it up a little bit. We're gonna put a bunch of it on our little palette here, and then I'm just gonna grab an absolute ton of paint. Okay, and then we're just gonna start going to town. I'm gonna get really close here to some of the parts to try to get some larger splatter effects. And back up as well, but we're just trying to get just that extra interest on this. Then we can even like kind of dab in some parts as well, but this is looking pretty good. Now that the purple has dried, we are going to do some splatter with white, and I have made the mistake once before of using the same brush, but since we use purple and we're going to be doing white now, the white will never be perfectly white. So we're just gonna grab just any old brush here, and we're gonna do the same thing, just kind of go to town here. So we're just gonna load this brush up. A little bit different here because it is a brush and not a toothbrush, but it still works just the same. All right, it's now the next day, and I went ahead and put a layer of matte varnish over the whole thing this morning, and it's been sitting all day. Also, was looking over the footage last night. Man, I am not staying up till 3 a.m. painting anymore because I sound like a different person. But I think it turned out really, really cool. Here's where we're at. So we got the purple and white splatter all over this, and I think it looks really freaking sweet. I'm not gonna lie. And then the matte varnish just, it evens out the finish on everything. Look at all the black, looks really, really nice, but it's time to dirty it up. So the next step we're gonna do is over the black parts and pretty much everywhere, we're gonna be adding in just some weathering effects and stuff like that. We're gonna be doing mostly dry brushing here with blacks and grays and maybe a little bit of brown in there too, just to give it a little bit of depth. Let's get into it and get started dry brushing. I'm gonna start off with the gray, dip into the gray, and then like always we're gonna dab a whole bunch off, and I'm gonna just start kind of getting at the edges here first. I'm gonna get into the piece as well, and we're just gonna be giving everything a little bit of character here. So I'm even gonna go like on some of the white parts here, just dirtying it up. So enjoy the time lapse here of the dry brush, and we will see you after. The next step, I feel pretty good about just like the general weathering and everything, but I do feel like it just needs a little extra pop in some spots. So we are going to go over with a little bit of gilding wax. I feel like it just helps so much to just kind of bring some of these pieces alive. Like always, we're going to use our very, very old cheap glue brush. We're just going to get a little bit of this gilding wax onto our palette here. This is probably way more than we need, but that's okay. And then with that, we're gonna just take a bunch of this off of the brush, and then we're gonna go back in, and I'm just really gonna focus on some of the edges right here, so you can really kind of see how that it just brings that edge to life. And I really felt like this piece needed just something else, just adding a little bit to some of these spots. It just really, really helps just bring out a lot of those details, and it just gives it that metallic sheen that we're kind of looking for. All right, now that looks freaking awesome. We got some good weathering all over it. I think that this has a lot more character now, but we got to do what we always do, and that is add a little black wash. Now, I don't want to go crazy with the black wash on this one because we did add some weathering throughout, but I do want to get just a little extra stuff like into these grooves in here, in this big one here, in some of these areas, stuff like that. I don't want to go too crazy and just take away from the white, because the white really does pop and it does look really nice. So we're going to take our black wash, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to just drip it right into the surface in like some of these canals here. And then I'm going to go in with my sponge brush and just kind of move that around a little bit. Make sure it gets in all of these little nooks and crevices and stuff like that. We're going to let this dry for just a second here, and then we're going to go in and we're going to start dabbing. If you kind of get in close there, you can see just all those little nooks and crevices and all those edges. They just have a little bit more character. They look a little bit nicer. So we're going to go ahead and do this now to the rest of it, and we'll see you after. When that dries, we are left with this. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should paint next, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.